What is a function in Python? A function is a block of code that can be called multiple times. It can accept data as parameters and it can return data as a result. Here are some examples of functions. So function start with keyword def and then a space and then function name. And then we have parenthesis, and if there are parameters then we need to write parameters. Now let's learn about various types of functions. Now let's create a function using def keyword, then function name, demo, then parenthesis. And now we need to write the definition of the function. So let's write print demo. So we have a single statement in this demo function. Now we need to call demo function. How we can call? We can use function name and then parenthesis. So this is how we can call a function. So let's run this program. So here it prints demo. Why? Because we have called this function demo, and when this is called, then the statements under this function will get executed. So we have only single statement, that is print statement. So that is executed and we have demo in the output. Now let's call it multiple times. Let's say 3 times. Now let's run this program. So now we can see demo is printed 3 times. So this is how we create a function in Python and we call it using the function name. Now what if I don't want to print demo, I want to print a dynamic name. So we need to add a parameter. Let's say name, and we can print this name variable or the name parameter. Now whatever we will send upon calling this function, that will get printed. So let's say I'm sending first as Shubhankar, then Python, and then any integer value, let's say 3. Now let's run this program. So here we can see first we have called the demo function with argument as Shubhankar as a string. So name will be initialized with this value and then we are printing this value. So that's why Shubhankar is printed. Then we are sending Python. That's why Python is printed. And then we've sent integer value 3. 3 is printed. So this is how we can add parameters to a function. So this is a single parameter. What if I want to add one more parameter? Let's say name and address. So I can print name and address both. Now let's remove this. I can have name 1 and then I need to pass another parameter, that is address. So how I can pass it? Like address 1. So it can contain a space as well because it is a string. So let's call this. Let's run this program. So here name 1 and address 1 is printed. What if we call this method again with some different value? Let's say name 2 and address 2. So here name 1 and address 1 is printed first because it is written first, and then name 2 and address 2 is printed because it is written after that. So Python follows a top-down approach. So first it will initialize the demo function and then it will execute this statement first and then this. So in order to check that, what I will do, I will just write this uh, method. I will call this method before declaring this method. So first it will try to call this method, but since this method is written below this statement, therefore it will not be found by the Python interpreter. Let's run this program. So here we get the error, name demo is not defined, because Python follows top-down approach, and first this call method is executed, but since we don't have any function with name demo above this statement, therefore it returns error. So this is about uh, two parameters. What if we want to have three parameters? So we can add one more parameter by using comma. Let's say param 3. And what if I want to have one more parameter? So I will put comma and then put param 4 or any variable name. And likewise, if we have 100 parameters, then how we will be adding the parameters? We don't have to write 100 parameters, or if we want 1000 parameters, then we don't have to write 1000 parameters. What we can do is we can use star operator, and we can give a variable name as anything. We can generally in Python we use args, so I will use that only, but we can write it as any, like if we want multiple fruits name, so we can provide as fruits. Here I will use args only. Let's print args directly, and let's call demo with single value. Let's say I will pass a string value Python, and let's check the output. So instead of string, it prints a tuple. We can check by using type operator. I have rerun this program. So here we can see this args is converted to tuple. So if I want to print this Python, what I will do? I will use args of 0, that is 0th index. So now it prints Python. So if I want to send one more parameter, what I will do? I will put comma, and let's say I will send 3. Then here I can access it using argument 1, that is first index. So here argument 0 contains Python, argument 1 contains 3, and this is how we can send multiple values, and we don't have to update this function, and we don't have to add multiple parameters variables. So this is how we can accept any number of arguments in a single variable in a function. Now there is a concept of default value. So let's say we have uh, name, and then we have place, and place as default value, let's say Delhi. Write print name and print place. Now let's call demo with a name, let's say name1, and then call demo with name2 and place. Let's run this program. So for line number 4, while when we call demo function with single value, single parameter value, so this name will be initialized with name1 and place will use the default value Delhi. So name1 and Delhi will be printed. So here we can see that this is printed. Now when we again call this demo function with name value as name2 and place value as place2. So this will be overwritten and we have name2 and place2. And again if we call, let's say, name3 and no place, so it will use Delhi. Let's run this program. So here at third place we have name3 and the default value Delhi. Why? Because we have not provided the value for place variable. Now what if I do not provide any value while calling this demo function? So default value of place will be Delhi, but we don't have any default value for name. So let's run this program. So here we can see we got the error. Why? So the error is demo missing one required positional argument. Why? Because name is a required position argument. It doesn't have any default value. So that's why if any parameter is not having any default value, we have to mandatory pass the value for it. Now we have arbitrary keyword arguments as well. So let's check what are that. We use double star for that instead of single star, and we generally use quarks, which is called keyword arguments. Let's say it will contain a dictionary. So let's say we have quarks, then key value as, let's say, name. I'll write print statement and then quarks keyword arguments, then place. Now let's call this function with name equals to, let's say, name1 and place equals to place1. Let's run this program. So here, if we pass the parameter values along with parameter names, that is name and place, so those things will be captured by keyword arguments in the form of dictionary, where key will be the argument name and value will be the value. So here we have keyword argument as dictionary, which contains name as key and value as name1. So here name1 is printed. Then we have a place key whose value is place1. So place1 is printed. So this is how we can accept any number of arguments or keyword arguments, not arguments, any number of keyword arguments. So if I send, let's say, name, place, or any other, let's say x equals to 5. So if I directly write print quarks, it will be having all these values as a dictionary. So here we can see it prints as dictionary with name, place, and x. So this is how we can accept the keyword arguments. Now we can have both the things like args and quags. let's print args as well. Okay, and I will use this same calling method, and let's run this program. So here we can see arguments is an empty tuple, and keyword arguments, that is quarks, it contains all these values as in the form of dictionary. Okay, now let's add, let's say, any string Python and then comma. Okay, so this is positional argument and these are keyword arguments. So args will capture positional arguments and quarks will capture keyword arguments. Now let's run this program and see the output. Now argument contains Python in the tuple, whereas keyword argument contains all the keyword arguments in the form of dictionary. So we can have n number of positional arguments, let's say 2, 3. So these three values are the positional arguments which will be captured by args, and these three values, name, place and x, this will be keyword arguments, so it will be captured by quarks. Let's run this program. So here we can see Python 2 and 3 are the positional arguments. So those are captured by arguments. Now let's check what if I place any argument value in between the keyword arguments. Let's say in any integer value and comma. Let's run this program. So here we can see it displays the error. What error? Positional argument follows keyword argument. So keyword argument should be at the end. So this is the concept. So if we move this value before the all the keyword arguments, then it will be considered as the arguments. So here we can see now 4 is in the arguments. Now let's check the return value. Remove this. So let's say we are passing any name, or let's say anything, we are not passing anything, or let's say we are passing any value, integer value, and we will return the multiply with 2. So let's say value multiply 2. We will return twice the number of what we have called. And so we will call demo function. We will pass as integer value, let's say 5. So this function will return 5 into 2, that is 10. So we need to capture that value, capture that response. So let's say we can have it in a variable x. Let's print x. Okay. Let's run this program. So here we get value 10. Why? Because we have passed 5. It will be captured in value. Then 5 into 2, that is 10. So this value will be returned from this function and it will be stored in variable x. And now we have printed the x variable. So that's why 10 is printed. What if we call demo with value 8? So it will return 16. So here we have 16. So this is how we can return a value. We can return a value as it is as well. We don't have to multiply. So if we have passed 8, then it will return value 8 only. And here we can see it returns 8. Let's say we want to return multiple values. So it will, let's say value, then value multiply 2. So we want to return 2 values. Okay. So let's print that. So we have value and then value multiply by 2. So this function returns these two values in the form of tuple. we can check the type of X. So it will be tuple. Let's run this program. So here we can see it returns the result or the two values in the form of tuple. So it can return multiple values as well. So we can put comma and then add a new value. So this is how a function can return a value. Now there are cases where we don't have to do anything in the function. So we simply write pass. So let's remove this parameter as well. So we will simply call the demo. Statement. So here we are simply calling the demo and we have written pass. So this code will not fail. So here we don't have anything in the output because we don't have any print statement. So what if I remove this pass statement? So it will return error. Indentation error, expand and indented block. So this is how we can write empty function using pass keyword. Now there are cases where we require the function parameters as only positional arguments, but not the keyword arguments. So how we can achieve that? Let's say I want to write a function which should accept two positional arguments only. So I will write X and Y. And one more thing, this slash. So this means it will accept only two positional argument, and by default this function accepts only two positional argument if we don't write this slash as well. So if I call this, let's say I will print value X and Y. I will call this function and 3. Let's run this program. So here it prints 2 and 3. So if I pass Y equals to 3, so then also it will run. So it returns 2 and 3. If I pass, let's say X equals to 2 and Y equals to 3, then also it returns 2 and 3. And if I interchange these position as well, let's say Y equals to 3 and X equals to 2. So then also this value X equals to 2 will be goes to X and 3 will go to Y, and it will also return print 2 3. Let's run. So here it prints 2 3. But what if I want to write a function which accepts only positional arguments but not the keyword arguments? So these are keyword arguments. Normal function accepts positional argument and it can accept those positional arguments as keyword arguments as well and in any order. But I want to write here demo 2 comma 3 only. So how I can do that? I can put slash. Now if I run this program, it will generate error. Demo got some positional only arguments. So here we are sending keyword arguments, so it will not work. So we need to send 2 comma 3 only, then only it will work. Even if I put 2 comma y equals to 3, then also it will not work. It will raise the error. So this is how we can make any function to use only positional argument. So we cannot use keywords here. What if I want to make a function that upon calling should use keyword arguments only? So instead of slash, I have to write star before this. So now if I call this function, it will raise the error. Demo takes 0 positional arguments, but 2 were given. And why it takes 0 positional argument? Because we have written star here, so it will accept keyword arguments only. So that's why we need to write x equals to 2, y equals to 3. Now this function will work, and we can interchange the value of these, like y equals to 3 and x equals to 2. Then also it will work. But we need to write the variable names or the parameter names. So this is how we can force a function to use only keyword only arguments. We can force a function to use the combination of positional only and keyword only arguments both. How? So let's say we have a comma b, then slash, then star, and x and y. And let's print everything a, b, x and y. So now a and b are positional arguments only because we have slash, and x and y are keyword arguments only because we have star. So I need to write, let's say 1 comma 2, then we can have x as 3 and y as 4. So these two will go to here, a and b, and these x and y will go to x and y respectively. Let's run this program. Here we have 1, 2, 3 and 4 because we have printed a, b, x and y. So this is how we can implement a function that forcefully contains some positional arguments only as well as some keyword arguments only. Now in Python, Python supports recursion of function as well. So let's say there is a function demo which accepts value x, okay, and it will print, let's say Python, and it will print Python. And how many times it will print? Let's say we will do x equals to x minus 1, but in short we can write it as x minus equals to 1, and then we will call demo with new value of x again. But we need to have a terminating condition up to when, if x is greater than equals or greater than 0, then only print Python and do x minus 1 and then call it again recursively. So what is recursion? A function calling itself again and again is called recursion. So here demo is calling itself with a new value. So here it is recursion. Now we will call, let's say demo with value 3, and let's check the output. So here 3 times Python is printed. Why? We have sent value as 3 to x, so now x is 3. Now this is the condition. If 3 is greater than 0, yes, print Python. So our first Python is printed. Then x equals to x minus 1, that is x new value will be 3 minus 1, that is 2. Now x is 2. Call demo function again with value 2. Now demo is 2. 2 is greater than 0, yes, print Python. So this next Python is printed. Now do minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. Call demo 1. Now x is 1. If 1 is greater than 0, yes, print Python. So Python is printed. Now do minus 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So demo 0 is called. X is now 0. If 0 is greater than 0, no. So this condition is false. Return none. Now here we call, and then again we don't have, and then again we call, and then we are here. So that's why 3 times is printed. Let's say I have print statement. So how it will work? We have called 3. Here 3, x is 3 greater than 0, condition true. It will print Python. Then 3 minus 1, 2. It will call demo. It will not print end. So it will call demo again with value 2. Then print Python. Then value is 1. It will call demo again. So 3 times Python will get printed. And once this condition is false, it will print end. Then it will return to this call of the previous one. So I can make you understand, like we have called demo 3 and internally it will call demo 3, which will call demo 2, which will call demo 1, and which will call demo 0. So when demo 0 is called, x is 0, this condition will be false. It will print end. So after writing 3 times Python, it will write end. And then it will return back to the demo 1 call, demo 1, where we have called. And it will come out of this loop, I mean condition, if condition, and it will print end one more time. And then it will return to the call of demo 2. So demo 2 ends here and it will print end. So end will be printed again. Okay, which will return to demo 3. So it will print one more time, I guess. So let's run this program and check. So here we have first of all 3 times Python and then 4 times end. First is for 0, then 1, then 2, and then 3. Value of x. This is how the recursion happen in Python. So there is one more important thing about the default value of function, parameter value. So let's say def demo, we have x equals to an empty list. So we should not write it as empty list or empty dictionary. It should be it should not be mutable, because there are certain issues with that. So let's say we have written x append. Let's say we are sending any value as well. Let's say value x append value. Okay, and return x. Now let's say we have called demo with first value as, let's say 1, and it will return a list. So let's save it as list 1. Okay, and then print list 1. Let's run this program first. So here we have one value, because we have sent one integer value in the list, and we have not sent any list here, so it will use the default list, which is empty. So it in x it appends value 1 and it returns the list with value 1. Now let's again call this method demo2 with value, let's say 2, and return the output list. And let's print list2. So now we are calling demo2 with value 2 and default value is list. So here value will be 2 and x will be, we will be thinking like x should be empty list, and then in empty list we are appending value 2 and it should return a list with single value 2 in list 2. But this is not the case. Let's run this program. Here we can see instead of a list with containing a single value 2, it contains 1 and 2, two values. Why? Because when we call this method with no argument, this is initialized with an empty um, list, and then value 1 is appended and this list is returned. And when we call demo2 with the same default argument, so this list is already initialized with value 1, so that's why it appended value 2. And list is a mutable type, so we don't have to write mutable values as a default value. So we should use string or integer values as a default value only, but not the mutable types like list or dictionary. Otherwise we will face this issue. Now let's check about passing the values to function. Let's say x, and let's consider like x will be any integer value, and we will update. Let's print inside function. Let's format the string using f and use the variable x inside function before updating. We have x. Then let's update the value x to, let's say, 5, and let's print after updating. Okay. And here also, let's say x equals to, it's not x, or we can, we can use x as well. We can use any other variable as well, because that this x is a local variable to this demo function only. Let's say we have 2, and let's say outside function before updating, value of x is this, or before calling function, then we call demo x, then print outside function after calling. Okay, let's run this program. So here we have outside function before calling the function. So the value of x is 2. Then inside function before updating. So here x is 2, inside function before updating 2 is printed. Now we have updated the value of x to 5. So therefore inside function after updating we have x as 5. But when we come to here, the control comes to here. So here it will use this local value only. It is using value 2. So if we use a string value instead of integer, let's say Python, and here also if we update it with, let's say, Python 3, let's run this program. So here also we have first Python, then in the function we have Python. After updating it changes to Python 3, but outside the function it still remains Python only. Why? Because this is a string value and string is immutable type, and it is similar to integer, which is also immutable. Now let's check with mutable types. Let's say x is a list, It contains value 1 and 2. So this is a list, and let's update it. We will do x dot append, let's say 3. And now let's check the value. Let's run this program. So outside the function, before calling, it is 1 and 2. Then inside the function, before updating, it is 1 and 2. Then inside the function, I mean, we have appended 3 in the list. Then inside the function, after updating, it changes to 1, 2, and 3. Now 3 is in the list. Now when we return from this function and we try to access this variable, so this should contain 1 and 2, but now it contains 1, 2, and 3. Why? Because this is a mutable type of data. So it is mutated here, and therefore it is, the reference contains the updated value. So if we use dictionary here, Python dictionary, and if we update it in the function, then here also we will get the updated dictionary. But this is not the case with integer or string values, which are of mutable type. Immutable type. So yeah, this is all about the function and its parameters and the calling mechanism. Yeah. We can show the return type as well as the parameter types in the functions as well. So let's check that. Let's say we have a function demo which accepts integer value in variable x or parameter x. We can write it as this. And let's say it returns the square of this value. So that will be also integer value. So it returns integer value. So here we can type return type as int. Then we can have a doc string for this function. It will be triple quotes using double quotes, and we can write like function return square of a number. Parameter x, it is a integer value. So this is, I'm writing the description of the parameter, and then what it returns, the function returns uh, the square of the input value in integer format. So this is the description, or this is overall doc string of a function. This is the the type of the parameter x, and this is the return type of the function demo. Let's write return x multiply x. Now let's call demo with 5, and we can have we can save the value, let's say we type dot operator. So this will return all the functions or variables that will be used by integers. So here you can see all the functions and variables of integer type. And if we change this to string, let's say str, so here it will show, display all the methods and variables of string class type or data type. So this is the main purpose of defining the type of parameters and the result value of function. So this will help in suggesting the methods. So let's convert it to integer back, and let's print the output y. Okay, let's run this program. So here 25 is printed. So 5 multiply 5 is returned in and it is stored in y, and 25 is printed. Let's say um if I multiply it by 2, okay, then let it be empty. Okay. And function to return the square, okay. Function to return a number. Let's say we don't return a square. Let's print y. So we get value 10. Okay. And what if I, instead of 5, I send any string value? Let's say Python. Let's run this program and check. So here it doesn't give any error like other programming languages. We don't get any error. So this is called actually type hinting, and this is used by the IDE like PyCharm or VS Code or anything that we are using, and it will help them to suggest functions according to the type. So here it returns integer type, and if I put dot operator, it will show the methods of integer type. So that will uh, help the developer to use the inbuilt methods according to the type. So it will not check the type whether it is integer or not. And why we get 2 times Python? Because string, any string multiply by any integer value, it will replicate that string to that number of times only. So here we have 2, so that's why Python is printed 2 times without any space. So this is about type hinting of function.